Good morning, everybody. This is Mitch Milam. I am the board creative. And today I want to go through a really quick thing that I was playing with this weekend after looking at one of the M1 user forums on Facebook, or groups on Facebook. And the gentleman asked, can we create these holes of this shot glass holder with the laser? M1 specifically. The basic answer is no, you can't, because they're just too big and too deep, and it's just you have to burn your way through it, and it's really not the right tool for the job. This is a job of a forcer bit or something else like that that you can do on your drill press or maybe even a CNC machine. But what I came up with was we can do a lot to this. We just have to add a few things of our own. So what I did is I took his photo that he had inserted or added to the group, and I basically just removed the background and then just added it as an image to XCS, as you can see here. And we're going to do a few things. So we're going to mark where the holes are going to be, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put some of these things, this text in there. I'm not going to use the Patron name because I don't want to get the copyright issues there. So anyway, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of level this out just by rotating it. That's going to give us a bunch of big scary boxes, but that's okay. So now this was taken at an angle, so we don't. It has a slight kind of a trapezoid contour to it, but we'll be okay for the moment. Okay, so I'm going to put that up there, and then while I still have the image selected, what I'm going to do is trace the image. Because really what I just want the outline, and I'm going to basically move all these things over here, over to the right to 100%. And save that. And now you can see I have more or less an image or an outline of this. So I'm going to throw this way over here because I am done with that, but I need to make sure I set it to ignore because we don't want to cut this. Actually, you know what? Let me leave it down here for the moment because I need to do some other stuff with it. Now that we have our outline of what we'd like to cut out, or what we would like to at least note where we're cutting, we need to get a smoother version of this because this will drive the laser crazy trying to do all these little things here. So if you've never used the vector tool over here, now is a perfect time to learn how. So select vector, and what this is going to do is allow you to draw a series of lines with this little pen cursor, and we will actually recreate the shape in a smoother variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw it to where anytime it looks like it's shifting direction, I will put a point, because this has a curve to it, as you can see. And all I'm doing is just tracing everything. Now this one I'm going to kind of straighten out here, because I want it to be up and down as much as I can. That up, there we go. That looks so kind of okay. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to mirror the ones that are above it as much as possible because they're pretty much all the same. Same here. And when I get to the end, I'm going to double click, and that's going to create us a new vector. Okay, so I'm going to move this out, and I do not need this at all anymore. So again, I'm just going to set that to ignore and throw it off on the side, and here is our new vector. Now, this is just a general outline, and we're just using it for kind of guidance purposes at this point. But, you know, realistically, we don't have what they call node editing capabilities within XCS like we would in Lightburn or some of the other tools. So if we need to take this, export it out to another tool to export, all we have to do is right click on it and say export as SVG, put it into another editor, even like Adobe Illustrator, and smooth this up to the way that we want the final form. But again, we're just kind of using this as a guide. So one of the things we're going to do is add some circles. So insert a circle, and I'm going to hold the shift key down so it creates a perfect circle. And again, these are for shot glasses. So my question is, how big is a shot glass? And believe it or not, the internet has an answer for that. So if I jump over here to dimensions.com, here's how big a shot glass is. Now this is your standard 1-ounce shot glass, kind of the old school size. So the bottom diameter is 3.5 centimeters, which is going to be 350 millimeters. So we're going to make that. Let's change the size. Let's call it 355. Oops, that's wrong. That's 35. Sorry, not 355, 35. Okay, and I'm going to add, let's make it 30. Let's get a little bit of slop, so let's make it 37. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that and, whoops. Okay, so got one copy, do another copy. And again, I'm just doing a Control C, Control V. Now you'll notice these are radically different sizes than this. These are probably very small shot glasses for the normal. And again, this is just for a test, so you can kind of do it however you want. So I'm going to select all three of these, go to Align and Distribute horizontally. And then I'm going to go add some text. And I'm going to change the script down here to something that kind of looks like that Patron, which is Algerian. Let's just call this Flight 1. And make it 24 points. And we'll put that down here. Actually, let me select these three and let's move it up a little bit like that. And center it. And again, I'm going to copy this. Move it over. Yeah, I'll put this right kind of underneath it. Align top. There we go. And then just change the text of these other two. Okay, so here's what we're doing. I'm going to center this manually on all three of these. And I need to change these three words to be engrave. And actually, let me move those to my engrave layer. And then these are going to be on layer 2, which is going to be a score layer. And I'll fix these settings here in just a little bit. So change this one to score just to keep it safe. Okay, so basically we'll just put those three in like that. Now we need one other thing that is really kind of the whole purpose of this is this is going to be a guide for cutting these out with other woodworking tools. That's the whole purpose of this. And what we're going to do here is we're going to engrave some things on the laser, as you would see here. And I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and put in some more text. Change that to engrave. I'm going to put that over here. And I'm just going to put some hard returns over here, so it's like that. I'm going to move that to my engrave layer. Like that. And I'm just going to move these over to the right a bit. Now I think I may scrunch them up a little bit more. We'll see. Again, this is all personal perspective. I'm going to hold my shift key down so that I create a perfect circle. And then I am going to move this to the red layer that I'm going to rename Heavy Engrave. And then that's going to be set to engrave at 100% power. Speed is 80, that's fine. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to copy that and put it in the middle there, or move it, sorry. I'm going to copy it and put it in the middle of these other two, like this. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all by clicking the layer, and then I'm going to change the size to be 2 millimeters, which is not working the way I want it. Okay, let me just do it like this. So this is 2 millimeters. That is 2 millimeters. And this is 2 millimeters. And the reason we're doing this is once it gets that small, unless you zoom in really far, it's really, really hard to grab a hold of that and do anything with it without accidentally changing the size or the shape. So now I'm going to align these to the center of that circle using the Align tool, so horizontal and vertical alignment. There we go. And the purpose of this is, this will be the guide for the Forstner bit. The Forstner bit has a barb sticking down in the middle of it, and this is where you're going to put that barb, which is the initial center point of the drill bit. So we're actually going to basically laze this really heavily into the wood so we know where to put our Forstner bit. So what's going to happen at the end of all of this, we're going to have mostly this stuff, the thing down at the bottom, select created. So I've got my name, I've got my first flight, my second flight, my third flight. Here's where the shot glasses go. Here is the general outline of our board here. Here is a score line showing where we're going to be drilling our recess for the shot glass itself, and then here is the center point for the drill when we go to do that part. So this is basically just going to use the laser as one, lasing as it does, and two, it's going to actually allow us to create the other work that are guidelines for the woodworking part of the thing. So there we go. So let's go laze this out and see what happens. I'll be right back. Okay, through the magic of television, we are now back, and I had to make a couple changes. First off is I removed the outside shape. I wanted to show this on a piece of hardwood. This is a piece of maple. It was kind of the biggest piece I had without kind of wasting some of my finer stock, but I had this scrap piece of cabinet plywood or cabinet wood. So let's talk a little bit about the settings here in just a second, but let me kind of go through what we did here. So I moved the objects up so you can see the actual results. So we have our flight information. So like a flight is what they call these, where you have multiple drinks. Or some wine or whiskey is the same thing. So basically I have a divot here in the middle of each of the circles. This is where the Forstner bit and pin goes whenever you go to move it. And then basically what's going to happen is you're going to remove the space around or inside of this circle here that was scored out. So this shows you exactly where to drill, is the whole idea behind this. So if this bottom piece was in, it would also show us how to shape this, which, like I said, it didn't fit exactly, so I just took it off. But picture this, we have this up here, we have a score line just like these circles, and that would show us how to shape this. So we'd shape this on a sander or on a router or something like that if you had a template or something like that. So anyway, but I just want to kind of give you an idea about how this was set up. So as you can see a piece of aluminum. This is on an open plane. Because this material is 19 millimeters thick, the M1 will only handle 16 millimeters. So I had to remove the base plate and put it on the bottom. Then I measured up from the top of the material to the top of the laser head. They gave me a distance of 10 millimeters according to the gauge that they give us, or that we have available to us. Then what I did for the engrave, I set it to 80% power, 80% speed, one pass. For the heavy engrave, I set it to 100% power, 80% speed, and then for the score line, I just used the default, which was 70 power and 100 speed. Again, these are all one passes. I'm really pleased with the way that this maple engraved with the dark, and like I said, I bumped that up from the normal setting just a little bit. I think it was at 50 or 60, depending on what type of wood you select. But my initial test, it didn't engrave very dark, so I wanted it a little bit darker. So I just increased the setting from, I think it was from 50 to 80. And then if you went to 100, it would engrave darker and deeper. So just keep that in mind. Again, everything is dependent on the wood species, so that really matters. But anyway, this is just kind of a quick overview of how you can use your laser to produce work that you have so this basically would be a two-phase process. We're going to engrave, and then we're going to take it over to other woodworking machines to finish the actual shaping, etc. So in this case, I'm going to take it to my drill press. I'm going to drill out these holes to give us some place to put the shot glass for the flight, and then I can shape the outside however I would like, and then it's a perfect combination of everything. So this is how you can use your laser to assist you with your woodworking. Anyway, if you got any questions, please leave it in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.